Fascination for sport parachuting is rapidly expanding to the related yet more thrilling feats of free fall skydiving. For the first time, the courage and daring of free fall skydiving is presented in a feature motion picture. Director John Frankenheimer, who superbly captured the challenge of Grand Prix racing, now focuses his camera on men drawn to the flame of danger, men known as the Gypsy Moths. The earliest idea for a parachute is credited to the prolific genius of Leonardo da Vinci. An astonishing idea for its time, Leonardo's parachute never became more than a simple sketch. And yet, this forecast was vested with a germ of genius that would eventually blossom into reality 470 years later. Reality is the most important element to director Frankenheimer in filming both dramatic and skydiving sequences. To this end, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer and producer Edward Lewis sent the Gypsy Moths production company of 150 to 12 Kansas locations for 3 months of filming. Stars of the film are Burt Lancaster, Deborah Carr, Gene Hackman from Bonnie and Clyde fame, and Scott Wilson from In Cold Blood.
I've never seen a picture really where more attention has been paid to the authentic way to do things. John has collected them, John Frankenheimer has collected around him some of the very best parachutists in the entire country. Interestingly enough, he didn't get regular professionals. He got amateurs who have been jumping for years in spot jumping, exact jumping. And he got them to do things that they had never done before.
The courage and daring of 7 men is responsible for the skydiving film. Meet Carl Banish, electrical engineer, Mike Mills, surveyor, Garth Taggart, aerospace components inspector, Russell Benefield, aerospace quality controller, Jay Gifford, sheet metal craftsman, Jerry Roulard, law enforcement officer, and Dave Thompson, draftsman.
I didn't exactly know how I wanted to film the aerial sequences when I started. I had to experiment and try all kinds of things. And I had to find really young guys who were willing to do that.
Of all the experimental techniques used in the Gypsy Moths, none gave more amazing results than the skydiving helmet camera, here being aligned for accuracy.
Jay, why don't you sight my camera on the chimney over there, and I'll align this Newton ring sight on the chimney also, so that I see the same thing.
Okay, I have it right on the top.
Okay, I'm a little bit high and to the left. There, are you still on?
Yeah, right on the top.
Good, we have it.
Also, trying to capture speed has been a problem, because if you're moving at 180 miles an hour and the object you're photographing is moving at 180 miles an hour, it looks like you're both standing still.
During pre-production, we went through a long period of thinking up and developing stunts. And one of these stunts that we thought up was taking a gas station hand towel and flying it through the air. And the first time we tried it, we had very little control. And we found that because of the drag on the towel, it was slowing the jumpers up that were hanging onto the towel, but the cameraman, without this drag, went right on by and couldn't stay at the same level. We also had a very difficult time trying to have a man hang on to the middle of it. The centrifugal force would pull your arm up when you tried to rotate it. So we developed a banner or scarf that was made of 4,000-pound nylon tubing with sections of parachute sewn on for a visual effect in the air and easy sighting from the ground.
Once the divers solved the technical problems, they worked to give the audience a feeling of participation.
God! Go!
How many revolutions do you think we can get from 8.5?
12 easy. Once it gets spinning fairly well, you're going to have all you can do to hold on.
Since a man's life depends on each parachute opening, the care and packing of each chute is top priority.
Packing a parachute is relatively easy once you know the correct procedure. The first thing you do in packing a parachute is tying it down and applying tension to the whole system. Then you flake the sections individually. 24 sections of the parachute in all, and each one is comprised of several different panels. Next step is to slip on the sleeve. The sleeve slows the opening and reduces opening shock. It makes the opening much more bearable for the jumper. The pilot chutes attached to the sleeve and are what pull the sleeve off of the parachute. Once we pull the sleeve over the parachute, we then stow the lines on a flap of the sleeve. We stow the lines in rubber bands. Next, we attach the parachute itself to the container. Quick release fittings on the harness. We fold the parachute into the container in neat S-folds. We use S-folds because when the parachute deploys, it comes out very neatly in an accordion-type fold like this. We put the pilot chutes on top of the sleeve and compress the pilot chutes, compress the springs inside the pilot chutes on top. We pull up the sides of the container, across the top of the parachute, and insert pins through cones which keep the container closed until we wish to open it, at which time we would pull the ripcord handle which is connected to these pins by a long cable, thus opening the pack and allowing the pilot chutes to spring out and catch air. The last thing that happens in the opening sequence is the first thing you do when you pack.
The actual story concerns 3 stunt parachute jumpers who come into a Midwestern town for a weekend to give a show on the 4th of July, or the day before the 4th of July. And it's what happens to them during those 2 days, and what happens to the people that they come in contact with. I like to do all my films on location if I possibly can. I feel that it adds a great deal of authenticity to a film. I feel that I work much better on location.
If we have gusts of wind over 22 miles an hour for less than 5-minute periods, we have a no-jump condition. If it stays under 22 miles an hour for longer than 5 minutes, then we can jump. When they land, they have a chance of getting drugged and also landing in a hazardous area, like, for instance, the farmhouse over there.
How slow do the winds have to be going for the dangerous, really dangerous jumps?
1 to 12 miles an hour.
At 200 feet above the ground, I noticed I was drifting towards a farmyard. There was nothing except to more or less close my eyes and hope. I missed a barn. My chutes collapsed around me, and lambs ran right in one of them and tangled up.
The unpredictable Kansas wind inevitably caused accidents during the filming of 1,300 jumps. Dave Thompson here takes the hard landing that broke his collarbone. True to the tradition of a professional, Dave finishes the scene with Burt Lancaster, his arm hanging limply by his side.
The skydiving is so fantastic, but I'm sure it'll be something that will appeal to young and old and everybody, because it's being shot in a way that nobody has ever seen this skydiving done before. And
we're going to have to come up with what they call a cape jump. Now, that sounds to me like it's that old barnstorming bat wing.